More reaction is coming in from Missouri lawmakers after voters overwhelmingly rejected Amendments 4 and 5 on Tuesday.
Cape Girardeau Representative John Voss says he believes modernizing the state's tax policy is still a priority. Voss's comments come after the resounding defeat of Amendment 5, which would have done away with Missouri's income tax and allowed lawmakers to increase transaction-based sales. Voss says Missouri's current tax policy needs to reflect a 21st century digital economy, and currently it does not. Now, just outside the Heartland, Representative Jamie Ray Gregg tells us he was not expecting Amendments 4 and 5 to pass, but believes both amendments would have benefited the state. He says next time lawmakers need to come up with a better strategy.
Messaging across the board was not where it needed to be. And not only was the other side of the aisle fighting against it, as well as interest groups within the state and as well as outside the state, but somehow and unfortunately within our own party, we were infighting with it. There were groups from within our own party that were counterproductive.
A reminder of the election results on Tuesday. Amendment 4, which would have affected citizen-led petitions, lost by 80% of the votes, while Amendment 5 lost by 83%. Every single county in Missouri voted against both amendments.